Fox 47 News at 11 as we are following breaking news. Severe weather moves across the region tonight. At least one tornado has been confirmed on the ground in Weberville area. Neighbors are currently working around the mid-Michigan area, picking up the pieces left behind. There is a strong tree down on MLK Boulevard near Lansing. This is video we actually shot on our way back from high school football. And then throughout the mid-Michigan in Lansing area, there are trees down everywhere, flooded roads as we experienced coming back from football. You can see trees down all over the place. Traffic is moving very slow. Our Hannah Macri is actually trying to get to Williamston right now to continue our coverage and is having trouble getting in because of so many down trees, and officials are asking people to stay away from those areas. And again, a down tree on MLK Boulevard near Saginaw.
And here's where we're at now. We've got these two different colors touching each other. It's telling me that these raindrops are going in opposite directions with height. It gives me rotation, it gives me wind shear, and it's pretty intense when you see these colors this bright. So this is most likely a tornado that may have even come on the ground. We'll have to wait and see.
It looks like, looking at radar, that there might be some debris being picked up on radar. Very close to I-96, just to the southeast of Williamston.
Okay, so you might have heard Colton there. He's on microphone. Debris possibly being indicated by radar. We have the capability with the new radars, the dual poles, to take a look at any debris that might be coming out of the tornado, and it can show you that debris flying around as little specks. And that is the case southeast of Williamston, north of I-96, and just west of Weberville. So that would put it in Leroy Township. Leroy Township is the area of concern. That goes all the way into Weberville. If you have that, the tornado warning is issued until 10 o'clock, so it's for another 25 minutes. This is a very strong rotation. It wasn't as strong when I first started showing you this a little while ago, but it is now. And the Weather Service radars are picking up on this, and this is why the tornado warning has been issued. So if you are east of Williamston, if you're along I-96, along Grand River, if you're into Weberville and eventually Fowlerville, shelter's where you need to be. Lowest level of your home, away from windows, outside walls. Take a radio with you, take your cell phone with you so you can stay up to date on what's going on. But this rotation is pretty impressive. And you can see when I put the storm tracker on this, it's really giving us a good idea of that rotation being right where we just talked about. And when you see these red arrows, it's no longer a meso spin. This is a possible tornado on the ground. And as Colton just said, the radar is picking up some possible debris in the air. It could be tree branches, something as simple as that. The area is not heavily populated with homes like it would be in some neighborhoods. Colton, is there anything else to add to that?
A 60-mile-per-hour wind gust was reported in Mason not too long ago. That's all I'm seeing at this point. But the Weather Service did say that that is likely a tornado debris signature that was picked up on radar that I mentioned.
And that is where the rotation is. And again, we can show it to you just by putting on our storm tracker, and you see where that rotation is now. So we're concerned about all of this. There is a light rotation north of Williamston, and this is the nature of the weather that we had today, the heat, the humidity, the warm front situation that's over the top of us. You get tornadoes, but they're not coming from individual thunderstorms. They are coming from a line of storms. It's almost like when if you've ever used a canoe and you paddle, and you see that behind your paddle, those little eddies that you produce. Most of the water is just going one way, but you might find a few areas that are spinning up behind your oar or paddle. And it's kind of similar with this line of storms. On an individual basis, inside all of this, the winds may come together. And the same notion, when you have a line of storms, we've seen some rotations wiped out tonight. But this is not the case now here in Weberville and parts of I-96.
Hey, Andy, we can actually switch to Max 2. What I pulled up here on the screen here is what we were talking about, that correlation coefficient, Andy, where you see those brighter colors. that is where the radar is showing that there could be debris being lofted up into the sky from a possible tornado right near Weberville. So that's what that is showing right there. Correlation coefficient is the meteorological term for it.
Yeah, years ago when you didn't have we have dual Doppler radar now. It does all sorts of fancy things, and one thing that it was able to do when they developed it is to pick up on that low-level debris flying around and differentiate it between raindrops. And you see that's what's going on here. So it could be something as simple as tree branches embedded inside that storm now. Hopefully, with not as many homes across that area, hopefully there's nothing more than maybe a shed or a swing set, but that's what that does. It picks up on that, and you can measure that area, and how the larger it gets, you can then say, well, we have a much larger tornado here if it's been developing a lot more debris. Again, we can go inside the storm and measure winds with the rain, which way it's going and how fast, and determine how fast that totally is.
The National Weather Service is confirming that there is a large and extremely dangerous tornado located near Williamston. This was at 9:37.
Parts of the Midwest are cleaning up tonight after violent, deadly storms ripped through the region with a tornado outbreak now confirmed. Maggie Vespa has late details.
Mayhem across the Midwest after a sweeping round of deadly storms barreled through southern Michigan and northwest Ohio overnight.
Look at it, it's flipped right over.
The system packing 10 confirmed tornadoes, one with wind speeds up to 125 miles per hour. Huge trees ripped up by their roots.
This is the most intense storm I've ever witnessed in my life.
In Lansing, one person died when this tree fell through a house. Another person was killed, several more injured after dozens of cars wrecked on I-96. And near Grand Rapids, 3 more deaths, including 2 children, after authorities say this car hydroplaned. The storms at their peak knocking out power for more than 500,000 between the 2 states.
We heard crash and boom and glass breaking.
Near Lansing, a farm destroyed. Residents evacuated from a nursing home.
The roof was ripped off the building and they had people trapped inside.
The storms follow Thursday's torrential flash floods. In Michigan, a state of emergency. Officials noting in one county, hundreds of homeowners have reported damage.
We pull together. We're a community. We know how to support each other, and we're here for each other.
Another round of recovery underway as America's summer of severe weather continues. Maggie Vespa, NBC News.
Parts of Michigan are under a state of emergency after severe storms, including 5 tornadoes, damaged homes, downed trees, and littered debris across entire communities. CBS's Roxana Saberi reports that at least 5 people were killed and hundreds of thousands remain without power.
Powerful thunderstorms battered Michigan Thursday, leaving a trail of destruction. Residents in the Detroit area woke up to rain falling as much as 4 inches an hour, flooding around 200 homes and businesses. The storm spun off multiple tornadoes, packing winds of up to 100 miles per hour. 4 people were killed in 2 separate car accidents, and another died after a tree fell on her house. Overnight, as the storm moved south, at least 4 tornadoes struck Ohio, destroying the roof of this church in Cleveland. Heavy rain inundated roads and high winds toppled trees and power lines. At the peak, nearly 700,000 people in both states were sitting in the dark. Residents here tell us they're lucky they weren't injured and they're grateful to be alive. Margaret?
Absolutely. Thank you, Roxana Saberi.
Well, we're getting in some dramatic images from the state of Michigan this morning. Look at this video just into Fox Weather. We're spanning a neighborhood and part of that home is completely missing. Now, I will say a lot of the structural damage that we're seeing with some of the homes, it's really the wood part of the home, the siding, the top of the house. Some of the brick structures are completely untouched, but most notably is the direction that we're seeing the debris. You know, we have chunks of wood that are going into homes, but parts of the walls that are falling away from the house. So that does suggest that there's a little bit of a twisting mechanism. We'll wait for the official survey from the National Weather Service office, but we had tornado warnings in place and our debris is scattering in opposite directions. So those are 2 things that really stress that this possibly could be a tornado that rolled through Weberville, Michigan. We also had a lot of damage coming in from Williamston. So right along Interstate 96, that looks to be the hotbed of what was happening last night. Look at this structure. I mean, it's hard to tell because of course it's nighttime, but this is a trailer. Now that we're coming along the side, you can see it. There's the hitch, and this is a trailer that's completely flipped over. And that's right off of the interstate right there. So this is some really scary stuff, especially when you're talking about this happening, in the dark of night. So stay with us here on Fox Weather. We're getting in a lot of video, a lot of photos, and as we continue to clear them, we're going to bring them to you live here on Fox Weather.
My wife and I and our friends were actually sitting in the kitchen, and we got the alert on our phone for a thunderstorm warning. Started to fill up water jugs. I was working downstairs loading up a bunch of jugs. Stepped upstairs for just a minute and I got a warning on the phone for a tornado. And just as that happened, my ears popped and the glass behind blew out, and we pretty much fell to the ground in the kitchen upstairs. So it really wasn't enough time to get to the basement. But thankfully my wife, her friend, my daughter and her friend were in the hallway, which was a safe spot as it turns out. It may have been just 15 minutes. And we were able to step outside and see that the garage had been ripped off the house, and looked out as the lightning flashed and could see that our barns were wiped out. Yeah, no idea dollar-wise how much we've lost, but 3 buildings, all of them holding our equipment that we use for farming. So that's, of course, going to be a difficulty when it comes to harvesting the crop this year. Thankfully, my daughter's 4 horses were standing out in the pasture and somehow came through it unscathed. This is by far the worst we've ever had. You've had wind that's taken out branches occasionally, but nothing this extreme. So our family has actually farmed this ground for 190 years. So we're some of the pioneer families that moved into Michigan out in the 1830s. And the barn that's behind me that's been knocked down was pre-Civil War. So with hand-hewn beams and all hand labor, that will not be able to be replaced. That is irreplaceable. So really bummed to see that. But certainly thankful that we were all okay, that no one was hurt, and that's the most important thing.
So this is my father-in-law and my mother-in-law's house. It's their farm. They've lived here forever. So it's been in the family for 3 generations. Well, we actually got a call last night that tornado had hit the barn. And as you see this white barn over here, that's his tool shed. He stores tractors in that. So the roof was taken off of that one. Most of the old trees have been taken down. There was a milk parlor right here, and that was taken totally down. And then you can see this is the milk parlor, the milking area. They don't use it anymore. But that was, the roof's been taken off, and pretty much that barn's gone. Well, we're just gonna try to get all the trees picked up, all the wood, debris. We're waiting for them to get the lines, the electrical lines put back up, trying to get any damage we can before the insurance company can assess it. Nobody was injured. Obviously, this has been their lifetime home. It was really hard on them. They work on equipment here, so it's gonna be tough on them to work on equipment in this barn. This one's just for storage anymore, so which isn't too bad, but this barn here, they use all the time.
Before we go, thank you to our subscribers who helped us reach over the 1,000 subscription mark. It's very humbling to receive the support from our subscribers. Thank you. I will always try to give you accurate information, and I'm not worried if you disagree in comments. Just remember, youngsters may read your words. Well, this is the old farmer Scott Bain saying, be well, be safe, and be kind to someone today.
Don't forget to click like, subscribe, share, or ring the bell buttons on the Original Old Farmer channel. We enjoy reading the comments that you leave, and they do help the channel, so keep them coming. And once again, thank you for watching The Original Old Farmer.
The VFW National Home for Children, providing families of veterans and active duty military opportunities for growth and development in a nurturing community. Please consider a donation to help their children and families. I.C. Rhodes speaking.